Neuropathy isn't just physical. Many patients tell us their biggest battle isn't numbness, it's fear. That's fear of falling, fear of worsening the symptom, or fear of losing independence. I'm Dr. Kareem on the Healing Wellness Show, sponsored by Iowa Wellness Center. And today we're going to be discussing the emotional side of neuropathy. I've got Mark with me today, who's going to be asking me questions from the audience or the listeners. Mark, welcome to the show again, and you can go ahead whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karim. All right. Dr. Karim, why don't more people talk about this?
I mean, if you think about it, just as a society, people don't like to talk about their emotions. So many patients feel alone in these emotions. And a lot of times they just don't want to share, how they're feeling or the fear or, sharing it with family because they might put them in a nursing home. So it's the emotions. They don't want to share their emotions. Again, fear.
So why does neuropathy create anxiety?
I mean, it creates anxiety because of just uncertainty. It just creates stress. People wonder what comes next. They don't know what the end goal is or how bad it's gonna get. So that's why it creates that anxiety.
Why do patients fear losing?
I mean, for everybody, I mean, if you're not mobile, then you're sedentary, right? If you're sedentary, then things just start to go downhill. So mobility equals freedom. So a lot of patients, whether they remember when they were younger and how active they are, and they want to continue doing that, and they start to slow down or take say breaks in between things they used to do, like say gardening or walking or going on vacation, and now they're doing a tour of the Coliseum, and now they can't do the 4-hour tour like they used to, and they have to sit constantly because of their symptoms. So when symptoms start to affect like balance and walking, people will start to naturally just start to worry.
How does chronic pain affect?
I mean, pain just changes how people think, people sleep. I mean, it starts to affect your sleep, that now you're not getting sufficient sleep because you're tossing and turning or waking up every hour or 2 hours thinking. I mean, that's where you'll start to get people to say, hey, I'm brain fog, or I'm walking into a room and I can't remember why I walked in there. I know this person, but I can't get their name out. Or socializing, they tend to want to be at home more because they're forgetful, or just function in general. They start to be sedentary instead of active, like, hey, I've got to do some cooking, some cleaning, some gardening, but I don't feel like it because of my symptoms today.
The biggest thing we see is how can people stay hopeful?
I mean, the biggest thing will be focus on what you can control. So what is it that you can control right now? That's what I would say focus on, whether it's movement. So are you able to move and continue moving? Because I mean, being sedentary is going to bring your health down. It's going to decline big time. So that's why we constantly want to keep moving. The other big one, what we concentrate on in our clinic, and I think it's one of the most important things, is nutrition. I mean, how's your nutrition? Are you eating crappy foods and processed foods and junk and pop and chips and all that isn't healthy for you. So it's going to affect you internally as well. So that's why we address nutrition. That's our number one thing that we have to look at and address, because that's where 80% of diseases come from. That's where inflammation comes from. The other one is sleep. So not getting enough sleep is going to affect you throughout the day, where you are tired. You don't feel like doing things. You're taking more naps. You're eating and then feeling tired. So it's all about supporting all these functions.
Do you have a good patient testimonial that you can maybe talk about with us?
Yeah, I've got lots of testimonials about fear. I mean, fear is usually what causes these symptoms get worse, because they're not talking about it to loved ones. They're not going to the doctors and telling them, or they are telling their doctors and they're telling them there's nothing they can do about it. So they're just ignoring it. But I mean, I remember there's a patient, Wanda. She lets us share her story But Wanda's fear was going to a nursing home. She did not want to go to a nursing home. She was at the point right now where she was using a walker at the time when we saw her. But her family were starting to talk to her about going in a wheelchair because she was still falling with a walker. And she had that fear of going in a wheelchair, a fear of amputations, because she knows, or she knew some of her friends that had amputations, and she had that fear of amputation. So fear of amputation, fear of going to a nursing home, and fear of being in a wheelchair. And obviously fear of losing her home that she's lived in forever. So these were all fears, but she wanted to do something about the problem, and we created a customized plan for her. And within 3 months, we did see a 30% improvement. Within 6 months, we saw a 70% improvement. She went from a walker to a cane, and then at 9 months, she was off of that cane, and she did gain her independence. So a lot of her fears start to go away. And that is where actually she was more vibrant. Now she was leaving the home because she was never leaving the home because she couldn't. So Wanda's a great example of conquering that fear.
Awesome. Today we're going to talk a little bit, not even talk about, but we're going to do a thing called the rapid fire, something that we do. We asked a couple questions and you can just answer those if you don't mind. Is anxiety common?
Yes, very common.
Should people feel embarrassed?
Absolutely not. I mean, if you're gonna feel embarrassed and have the fear, you're not gonna solve the problem. It's gonna get worse. So absolutely not.
Can support systems help?
Enormously. Okay. Use them, utilize them. So quick key takeaways from this episode. So number one, anxiety is common, but you can overcome it. Okay. Number two, you're not alone. There are support groups. Your family always wants to help, even though they might be nagging you, but they love you. They want to help. And number three, education reduces that fear. So I hope this episode helped answer a lot of those, and that education hopefully will reduce that fear for you. So just real quick teaser for the next episode here. We're going to be talking about something. Can I still travel with neuropathy? Because that is something that is brought up a lot and is something that stops people from doing a lot. So can I still travel with neuropathy is going to be our next episode. So if this episode helped you in any way, I want you to take the next 10 seconds to hit that subscribe button. Most people listening do forget. But by subscribing, you're helping us reach more people who are struggling and searching for those answers. And if someone you love is dealing with neuropathy, go ahead, share the episode with them today. You never know whose life it might change. So please subscribe and share. Your body was designed to heal. Your health is worth fighting for, and healing starts with hope. Have a great day.